And so, by the way, that's Kevin Egan, who is now with us, the new host of MLS 360 on Apple TV. Oh, question from the Twitch pitch, by the way. Ropes wants to know if you can help get Greg Garza Apple Plus TV, because he doesn't have Apple Plus.
It's not my problem, John. Greg's a big boy. He can figure it out, you know? Anyone else out there struggling to get it?
I mean, I struggle to log in. I've got it, but I struggle to log in. Of course,
did you see how I logged in today? The audio's working.
Yeah.
I mean, it just jumped in and everything's working fine. It wasn't the case with Longshore the other day. I'll say that.
Oh, man. Oh, by the way, that reminds me, sir. I think you need one of these in your office, as a matter of fact. Do you not have one of these in the office there?
You ask me every time I'm on, John, about the scarf.
Yeah.
I don't have it. No.
Well, then text me your address and I'll send one. I'll get it
Thank
done.
you. I appreciate that.
And we also, by the way, we have a Marshall Islands Soccer Federation fundraiser going on too. So we are doing scarves for the Marshall Islands, the last country on the planet to have a national soccer program. So we're doing a fundraiser too.
Very cool.
So how completely and totally excited, jacked, and over the moon are you about flying to New York and doing this MLS 360 thing?
Pumped. Honestly, I know it's cliche and I know it sounds a bit ridiculous to say, but this is my dream job. This is it. I mean, in studio, bouncing between the games, all the goals, the action, the red cards, the yellow, whatever the storylines may be, for us to be able to bring that energy and enthusiasm and knowledge, hopefully, and have the fans along with us and just make it a fun show. That's the goal here. There's so much going on. We've 8 games tomorrow between 7:30 Eastern kickoffs, 4 at 8:30, and then there's one later on, a nightcap at 10:30. But we've got some good games, some brilliant storylines, and I'm just so excited and honored to be in that chair.
When it comes to storylines, I know obviously numero uno has to do with Messi and friends. And you know, we talk about them and they survived on the midweek going up against RSL. They look like a tired bunch, say 60, 65th minute. But, you know, when you're globetrotting the way that you are, you got a lot of old legs and old dudes, and that might be something folks look at this season.
Yeah, their average age is over 30 in their squad, which is wild to think about. Like Suarez 37, Messi 36, Busquets 35, Alba 34. Tata's job this year is incredibly difficult. Like what cards he decides to play will ultimately determine how this team do, because Suarez played 89 minutes on Wednesday. 89 minutes. And it looked nearly sore watching him play in those final moments. But he obviously decided, I want to stay in. And maybe he's talking to Tata saying, I'm good. But they've got Leo Campana, a top-class player sitting on the bench that's raring to go, that will give you so much in terms of his legs and his ability to get in behind. And he'll create space for Messi. But Messi and Suarez are best buds, and they have a telepathic relationship that will lead to so many goals this season. I just think that balance will need to be struck for Tata for them to ultimately have success, which I don't think they'll do in the regular season. I think they're going to really struggle at many points throughout the regular season, given international competition, players leaving. You know, they may need to offload 1 or 2 players, has been well documented, before the end of the window. So I'm massively intrigued by this storyline, but I do think there's 1,000,001 other storylines throughout Major League Soccer that are also fascinating beyond the Miami.
No doubt. We were getting into it this morning. Western Conference stuff. I know obviously we'll got you for another 15 minutes. We'll end with Atlanta United and Columbus. We'll get into Atlanta United at the end of the segment. When it comes to Western Conference, we were discussing Minnesota United and what in the wide world of sports has been going on there. They might have a new coach. It's close to being official at 32, and he's going to be showing up after Manchester Derby. We don't know about his visa. LAFC's got like 20 players. You know, they need to like bring dudes up from LAFC too. What are what are like 2 through 5 when it comes to your other storylines this season that you're staring at?
I think Dallas, when you're talking simply West for now, for me, Dallas look like a really good team that are going to surprise many this season. Estevez is going with a 3-4, looks like a 2-1 system with Musa will lead the line. I don't think he's available for week 1 due to visa issues. But Ferreira can really be at his best, I think, in that removed role off Musa, in the same way he played with, say, Pepe years ago. At the back, Tafarai's become a real leader for them. Pais in goal is a really good MLS goalkeeper. But it's in midfield where I'm most curious, because Pomical and Yaramendi have both had similar stories of injury derailing their career throughout their time so far. Mendy's much older. Pomacle's still only 34. If they can stay fit and healthy, that's a duo that I think could really, really strike balance in MLS. And Pomacle could be that all-action number 8. Mendy's a ball-playing, beautiful, deeper-lying midfielder. And then in Sealy and Areola out wide, they've got really attack-minded wingbacks. Kamungo, Ferreira in behind Musa. That's a winning combination for me with the talented coach Inigo Estevez. So keep an eye on Dallas. I would say, obviously, LAFC will be there or thereabouts, looking to create a bit of history, hitting back-to-back MLS Cups, first side since New England, if they can do it. If they can do it is a huge question mark, because Seattle have also improved, I think, this offseason and have that continuity with Brian Schmetzer. So in the East, there's where do we go with the East, John? It's so stacked. It's stupidly stacked. And every time I think, okay, this is a team that'll drop down, I do a bit more research and I think, I don't know. Like the Philly Union, for example. You win the East in 2022, you drop to 4th in 23, and they don't sign pretty much anyone.
Nope.
So you're like, what are you doing? Like, why are you remaining stagnant in this moment? But then you hear from Jim Curtin, and when he talks about the system that they play, the identity that they have, how they're comfortable being uncomfortable without the ball, and the fact that their academy trains that way and produces the players that way. And when he talks and he beams about a player like Quinn Sullivan coming through, that makes you believe that maybe they know what they're doing over there in Philadelphia. And maybe they're ready to strike this season, especially with Carranza banging in the goals already this campaign. So I do think they'll probably be there or thereabouts in 4th or 5th place. But it's the teams that, and I'm sorry for rambling on in tangents here, I'm just so excited for this damn season to start.
I know, dude. That's why I wanted to bring you in. And we're trying to put 10 pounds into a 5-pound bag in 20 minutes.
There's teams like the Red Bulls, which Fort's coming in, and Forsberg, but can Van Zer become a clinical finisher? And if he becomes that predator, this, for me, is a side that you really could see challenge for a top 4 place in the East. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but when you consider the top-class keeper that they have, an international caliber keeper in South America, the back 4, one of the best defenses in the league last year, and talent coming through a fullback. Midfield, Edelman and Maya, nothing to worry about there. Forsberg pulling the strings. Van Zer's the big question mark. Van Zer, and they do have belief in Elias Manuel, who's still a very young player. They can prove to be a good team. NYCFC, Mijatovic, I think, is going to prove to be maybe a newcomer of the year or one of the top young strikers. He's only 18, from Serbia, sees the progress of players like, whether he's had compatriots that have come here from Serbia and done really well. Petrovic being one of them at New England that's moved on. Jovic, another one out in LA. So he sees MLS. He said as much as a benchmark to launch his career. But he's like a Wayne Rooney figure as a striker. He's all action, great left foot. Excited to see him play. And then Montreal, the most intriguing team for me heading into 2024. And I think Montreal is a side that sometimes gets forgotten about. But Montreal under Laurent Courtois will be Nancy Ball on steroids, from what I'm hearing. They're going to ask an awful lot of Jonathan Sirois, their 22-year-old goalkeeper, to play higher up the field. But they have talent everywhere. And they've got, like Dallas for me, a very similar system. We're expecting a 3-4-2-1 or 1-2 for Montreal. It could be Martinez and Kakaro to start together up front, or a Poku in behind with Yankov, their new playmaker. And I think in Huan and Lapalainen, the talent they have in midfield, this could be a sneaky team in the East this season. So what does that mean for Atlanta United? It means, I think, that in the East, teams are going to be taking points off each other all the time, making a Supporter Shield candidate from the East even more difficult. Whereas you could see a Seattle, LAFC, or even Dallas challenge for the Supporter Shield out west.
Yeah, I mean, Seattle with the Della Vega signing, I know that you're looking at newcomer of the year there as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing Seattle. Portland is intriguing because of the coaching change and how things are going to, how the keys turn over there when you start that car. Yeah. I'm St. Louis for me, all caps. That one for me is intriguing, and so is Cincinnati, the two teams that finished on top last year. All caps because, okay, you're a first-year club, you're in this Red Bullsian system, and then you got exposed in the playoffs because a one-off, you can kind of take advantage of folks in the regular season. But a best of 3, you're having to face the same thing over and over again. St. Louis got found out. How do they respond to year 2? I think that Berkey is probably going to be challenged a lot more this season. than he was last. Cincinnati, Barrial wants out.
He's gone.
No Brandon Vasquez.
Yeah.
That probably puts more pressure on Lucho Acosta to get things done, and probably by default as an MVP candidate if Cincinnati is going to repeat and do what they did. When it comes to the folks that were up top, whether it's a Pareja with the purple team, with Cincinnati or St. Louis, or any of those folks that were up top high last year, what are you looking at?
I think Sasha Kleshin, my buddy on 360, has Orlando winning the Supporter Shield and winning MLS Cup.
Wow.
He thinks they're that good, and I don't disagree with him. I think they've added in really key areas. There's some question marks for me on Orlando. It's not with the goalkeeper, and it's not with the back four, and it's certainly not with the two in central midfield in Araujo and Cartagena. Further forward, where does Martin Ojeda fit in this lineup? Now, with Nico Ladero is playing some great stuff and available, and he's become, apparently from people I've chatted with that are part of the team in Orlando, he's been an infectious presence in this team. You add Luis Muriel and his compatriot Oscar Pareja as his coach. Can he get a tune out of Muriel, who is a ridiculously talented footballer? Yeah. I think that they're pretty stacked. Angulo sticking around. You're expecting Facu Torres to produce. This is a good team, and they're comfortable with how they play. It's a pragmatic style. It's a robust style, but it's kind of who they are now. There's a part of me with the players that they have that wants to say, "I'll go on, play a bit more," but this is who they are, and they finished second in the Supporter Shield race last year, and they've improved. I'm not sure Cincinnati have improved. Yeah, they get Miles, but Mosquera was outstanding last season. And further forward, I'm not sure they've improved either. Let's see how Buca is in midfield. Apparently a very good player, but Junior Moreno was their best passer. I think when you talk about St. Louis, John, they're very comfortable with who they are.
Yeah.
They still have a talented team. The spine of their team is very, very good. From, you mentioned Berkey and Parker and Leuven, I think if he can produce consistently, is one of the best midfielders in the league.
Right.
Klaus, excellent, injured a lot last season. Hopefully they have him fully fit. And then Adeniran is a player, Sam Adeniran, that Seattle disposed of, is a talent that has a soft touch, really, really good player that could produce and be a real surprise this season. So I think St. Louis will fall from first spot, but I absolutely think they'll challenge for a top four.
Teams that worry me for various reasons. Obviously, Minnesota United worries me right now. They're my wooden spoon contender just because they're on their second substitute teacher.
Yeah.
And you might have a coach and he might have his visa after the Manchester Derby. I swear half of me was sitting there thinking that if Eric Ramsey ends up being the guy, then the way things have been for Minnesota, it's like, yeah, he's still working on his visa. He'll be here after the Premier League season just because of the black cloud that's been hanging over Minnesota United. Toronto FC with Herdman. I don't know if his seat is instantaneously warm just because of the chaos that's going on up there from last season. Who are you looking at with the raised Kevin Egan eyebrow going into this season?
I think Charlotte's a curious one down the road here from Atlanta with Dean Smith. I mean, they play NYCFC in their opening game. It's fascinating to me because NYCFC last season came into the year very similar to the way Charlotte are this year, in the sense that they didn't have Sands, they didn't have Santi Rodriguez, they didn't have Munsef Bakrar, and they had a short squad that Nick Cushing was saying, we need help. And they eventually got it, but it came at a cost. A slow start to the season meant it came at a cost. I think when you look at what they're doing, though, there's a lot of emphasis being placed on Enzo Copetti. Mm-hmm. And Dean Smith can have a special relationship like he has with lone strikers in the past. Ollie Watkins is a great example. Tammy Abraham, last Vibe, when he was at Brentford, produced for him too. And I think Dean Smith will simplify things. I've spoken to one or two people. One of the assistants there was saying how wonderful Dean Smith has been with the entire organization. And I think he's a people person, like Tata was in Atlanta. Dean is a people person that will get the best tune out of people. And so that's a really interesting game for me tomorrow, Charlotte, NYCFC. In terms of concerns, Minnesota, a concern. There's reports that Reynoso won't be available for the first game. Then elsewhere, I would say San Jose. I don't think they've added enough. They finished 9th last season, snuck in. They backed into the playoffs last year after a really good start. They have quality, but where's their creativity going to come from? Yeah. Montero's not there anymore. They don't really have that creative 10. Espinoza provided last year, but he's a winger and he needs to be a goal scorer. Pellegrino promises the goals, but he's coming from Norway. And I want to see how that translates for a 33-year-old into Major League Soccer. And then Abobase's production totally and utterly dropped off last year with 10 goals, having 17 the previous year for San Jose. So question marks over the likes of San Jose, definitely Minnesota, Chicago. I do think their attack promises an awful lot with young Gutierrez, Shaqiri, like Mueller should be good. But their midfield, for me, is sorely lacking, even with Kellen Acosta. Yeah. I do think more talent is needed in their central midfield.
Yeah, because it seems like Joe Mansueto is Scrooge McDuck. He's basically just like lighting money on fire and getting and throwing in people, and this is what you're getting in Chicago this year. Absolutely crazy. I know we've only got you for another couple of minutes. What's it like having a producer in your ear when you've got 8 games going on at once?
I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. We've got a new team. We've got some changes we're making to 360. I love organized chaos.
Mm-hmm.
I really do, and I want this to be a little bit chaotic. You know, I don't want to look at a teleprompter. I don't want to worry about a rundown, which is the essentially our show.
Right there with you, brother. It's like, I don't need a rundown as to who's going to be on. Just tell me where we're going, aim and shoot. Yeah. Let's fly.
Yeah. And we're going to be focusing on single games. Then we'll have goal alerts. So if there's a goal, say at Charlotte, we're like, I'll be telling Sasha, hey, pipe down, buddy. We're going to Charlotte. There's been a goal. Which way did it go? Did it fall for the Crown or is it the visitors NYCFC? Yeah. Well, I don't know if we have a siren yet. I don't know. I'm on the fence about the siren.
A lower third siren. You know, it doesn't have to go or anything, but just kind of like a red alert or something.
Yeah. Like, I do think that people will consume 360 potentially in their kitchen, making dinner. Like, they'll have it on and they'll have us updating them on the night's action. So maybe a siren is a good idea where we've talked about it, in there. And maybe it's the sort of noise that will make them go, oh, hang on, I want to see the goal.
Or you have an air horn that you aim at Sasha. You sit there and go,
big vuvuzela.
Yeah. Before we go, rapid fire. Emilio wants to know, will you miss play-by-play?
Oh, great question. I hope to still do some play-by-play. Thank you for that. It's a great question. And there was a couple of lovely tweets saying that, we'll miss you doing Atlanta United games. I hope that during the summer, Leagues Cup, for example, there's no 360. Come on, stick me in the bends. Give me an Atlanta United game. That's the hope, anyway.
Get the man a home game. Pars comes in. Pars wants an always rising. And where did that start for you? You met Parzival once and never got to ask. Where did always rising?
What does that mean? Always
rising.
I don't know what that means.
That's like, I'm guessing it was like from contact with the shot and the ball just keeps going and it's just.
Yeah, just one of those strikes that like never looks like it's going to dip.
Yeah,
like a trajectory where it's if Mercedes-Benz wasn't a closed dome, it's going all the way in downtown Atlanta.
Yes,
that's a good question though. It's something I never really thought too much about.
Yeah, so it's always fun to catch up with you, my friend. You know that you've got golden ticket status. Any morning that you're bored,
Thanks,
you can text me and go, dude, I want in. And I'm texting you right now, by the way. And the text to you says, send me your address.
Okay. Perfect.
So that way you can adorn the office appropriately. Kevin Egan, the new host of MLS 360 on Apple TV Plus, provided I can figure out how to log in here in Office HD. I'll be watching.
Hey, well, have you got Maddie Cruz working for you?
Yeah.
Maddie's the best.
Yeah.
I love it.
All right. Well, hang on. There's Maddie.
Where's Maddie? Let's get Maddie in here.
All right. So Maddie, Crash, get in here real quick.
Hey, how are you, Maddie?
I'm good. How are you, Kevin?
I'm good. Maddie has so much potential as a broadcaster and a great future in store. So I met Maddie when I was speaking with Kennesaw State University and the classmates. And tremendous talent coming through. So it's great you're working with John Nelson.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot of fun. I think I told them, too, one time. I was like, I met Kevin back in, 2022, really? I think.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
Around that time.
Look, but she's running the morning show, Kevin. She is running the morning show now. She's doing play-by-play. She's got play-by-play tonight, as a matter of fact. She's doing color. She's, doing interviews and episodics and everything. Look, she's running the network right now, man. That's all that's going on.
That's class. Love to see it. Well, continued success, Maddie. John, thanks for having me on, guys. MLS 360, 7:30 p.m., Apple TV, MLS Season Pass. Please join us. Use the MLS 360 hashtag. Let us know any thoughts, any feedback, critiques. There could be some teething problems. Hope not, but there probably will be. That's the nature of what we do for the first few weeks. We want to get a good show in the air. So help us out if you can, folks. Love you. Thanks for having me.
Air horn for Sasha and BWP. That's what you need. We'll see you, brother.
Cheers, John. Cheers, Maddie. Take care, guys.
Right. There's Kevin.